China Coaston, also known as Chinese actress and indie filmmaker. So I wanted to shout out three films that are directed by a black person and starring a black person. One took place in the either mid 60s or late 60s, and the other two took place during the early 70s. Um, Let me just start out by saying, okay, so the reason I want to shout these films out is because they are movies. And the reason I refer to them as movies because they have a great deal of movement, energy, and action. Now, my independent film Dark Seed, where I am so grateful that I have been in a position to produce it and direct it and star in it, there isn't a great deal of action or movement in it. It's a very character-driven piece, and most of the scenes, they're sedentary. It's a sedentary film. Most of the scenes, the characters are seated while talking to one another. I do have some movement and action scenes that take place outdoors. I have some nonverbal montage that there's movement, but I wish I would have exploited movement and action a little bit more in Dark Seed, but I didn't. So lesson learned. But I will in my next film, Circle of the Wagon. So that's why I want to shout out these three black films. Okay, so the first one I want to shout out. Let's just go into chronological order. The first one was released in either in the mid '60s or the late '60s, which is A Warm December, directed and starring Sidney Poitier. Um, the movie starts out with movement. Like this lady is running. Sidney Poitier. There's scenes with him on a horse. He's on a horse. He's riding a motor. He's doing a motorcycle race. There's hiding. There's mystery. There's intrigue. There's dancing. There's so much movement and energy in this film, and it's like, wow, that's how you optimize a movie with movement and energy and action. And it's great framing. It's great camera movement. It's a lovely, unpredictable love story that I was very moved by. And it also dealt with giving back to the community. Sidney Poitier had a daughter, and he was involved with this African princess, or like ambassador. But it took place in London, England. In London, I don't know where exactly in London. But it's a lovely love story, and Sidney Poitier character has a daughter, and it's just full of energy and movement and action that really serves the story well, and it's great, keeps you intrigued as an audience member. So that's Warm December. Check them out. I think you can either rent it or buy it on Amazon.com. I don't know if it's available on YouTube, but if it is, you probably have to pay like $2.99. The second joint is Mother Frickin' Superfly, released in 1972, shot here in Harlem, New York, and directed by Gordon Parks Jr., the son of Gordon Parks, the famous photographer. His son directed the piece, and it was starring the offensively fine Ron O'Neal, and he's a consummate actor, theater and film actor, and he just rocked the funky joint in it. But more importantly, like the movie, within the first 5 to 10 minutes, the dude is somebody is like steal something from him, snatch something from him, and he goes booking after them, and his hair is flowing in the wind, and his outfit is on point. It's just really dope. Like that's just dope, energetic movement just coming out the gate of the film, and it's so raw because it's shot in like a 125th, 135th, I guess, in the area, and it's just a raw film, and it's very character driven as well. He's a drug dealer who has some success, but he's tired of that game, and he wants to get out and do something legit and something where because he has great potential, but he wants to do it in a legal way, and he's trying to convince his business partner, who is still mentally a slave as far as he doesn't see anything better for him in life, that he can't do anything better, but Ron feels differently, and he's trying to persuade him, but this dude is not receiving him. But there's a great close-up shot of Ron O'Neal and his business partner, and it's so inviting, and it's so like intrusive. Like I feel like I'm right there. Just the lighting, it's incredible. Y'all have to see Superfly. Forget about it being blaxploitation. Like that's not important. The story is character. This dude wants to do better for himself. He knows he can do better, and he's tired of it. And so to me, that's a beautiful story. Like we've all like made some foolish, destructive choices, and most of us want to do better, evolve, and that's what he's trying to do. So I don't see how anybody can look down on that type of narrative. Anyhow, I just love the framing, and there's these great photo montages that influenced Dark Seed. Trust me, it came directly from that film. It's just so raw and different and trailblazing. So check out Superfly, directed again by Gordon Parks Jr. Gordon Parks, the famous photographer's son. He did a great job directing this narrative, and Ron O'Neal did a wonderful job acting. He's so incredible at acting. Like, if you want to study dope acting, study Superfly, Ron O'Neal. Okay, and the third one is Mahogany, directed by the one and only Berry Gordy of Motown. Yes, he directed Mahogany. It was released, I believe, in 1974, between 74 and 70, between 71 and 76, I believe, 77. I have to IMDb and find out, but the early 70s. There's a scene, it's a lot of montages, a lot of movement. Diana Ross is a designer, but she becomes a model first to get her face out there, and then she becomes a designer. And there's a lot of movement, shots. Like, there's a scene between the one and only, so it's starring Diana Ross and Billy D. Williams. If you don't know who they are, please Google them because they're incredible actors. But Billy D. Williams is at odds with an Italian photographer who has feelings for Diana Ross, and Billy D. Williams is clearly have feelings for her too. And like, there's a scene in the photographer's art gallery at a party Diana Ross is having, and they're fighting each other with a gun. And the angles are incredible, and the movement and the energy is just pow, it's right there in your face. So please check, if you are an independent filmmaker or just filmmaker, period, study the past, study these great cinematic gems, because you can really learn a lot about the great movement and energy and action that's necessary to optimize a film's interest, appeal rather. So yeah, again, that is A Warm December, directed by Sidney Poitier, Superfly, directed by Gordon Parks Jr., and Mahogany, directed by Berry Gordy of Motown. Just incredible. All of these are great love stories, and they all have, again, great movement, great action, great acting, and just stories of second chances, of redemption, and that's how I roll. And I know that my films are a result of all those films that I took in as a child, as a teenager, as a young adult. Like, that's what it is, and I'm happy to say that you'll see their influences in my film Dark Seed, like, straight up. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, and I guess see you all in the next video. Take care, peace, Dark Seed.